What's up, everyone? We are back for another episode of TMP, and today's special guest is newly crowned New York Pro Champion, the mutant Nick Walker. Nick, how you doing, brother?
I'm
gonna call you Champ from now on because you are a champ.
That's a good name to have.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and especially at 26. You 26 now?
Yeah, 26.
Oh, yeah. Did your parents tell you what I said to them? Because they were so cute. I talked to your parents. They actually walked up on me. I was sitting at the bar, and they came up, and I think it was your dad. Are you Dennis James? I said, yes, and I had no idea who it was. They said, oh, yeah, we Nick Walker's parents. I was like, oh, we had a nice conversation. They tell you about it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
She comes back to my hotel room, and she's like, you have to go on Dennis James's podcast. I told him you have to go on. I told him you'd be on.
Is that what your mother said?
I know. We already talked about it.
Your mother is so sweet, man. It was so funny. Nick, I want to talk to you about, we already know what you've been doing, but we're going to get to that a little later. I want to do the same thing I do with most people. I want to know the younger Nick. Now, you're 26 years now. What was Nick doing as a little kid, man, sports-wise, in school? How long did when did you start bodybuilding, and what did you do before you started lifting weights?
So when I was younger, like 4th, 5th grade, I was always into sports. Baseball and soccer were my main sports for the most part. And I was really, really good at them. And I always had good grades in middle school, which was like 5th through 8th grade. And then when I was 12 years old, I went through a little tragic experience for myself. I got molested as a child. And that pretty much changed, my way of life for a very long time. I got into drugs. I got into alcohol really bad. Sports wasn't really an interest in me for a long time. This was all through high school. Like I started training at 13, and that was just a way of pretty much taking all the anger out for the most part. And the more I trained, the less I wanted to play sports. I just wanted to be alone and do my own thing. So in high school, probably around my senior year, I went to this gym called Extreme Fitness. It was a family-owned spot. Really awesome people there. They always told me I should compete because, I graduated high school at 230 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, okay. I said, I'll prep for my first show, after I graduate. I didn't think I could prep during school, So after I graduated, I picked out a first show. I did it. I did completely horrible. Worst prep of my life. But I just, believe it or not, I enjoyed the whole experience of the whole thing, though. I enjoyed being on stage. It was for the first time in my entire life since I was molested that I felt comfortable in my entire life. And I knew the prep went completely wrong. I knew I didn't look anywhere near that I could have. So, of course, I'm not done. So I took a whole year off to get the size back that I did lose. And that following year, I actually did the East Coast Championships, and I took first in the team division and 4th in the open light heavyweight division.
So you did both at the same show? Yeah.
And then a week later, I actually did the Eastern USA's in New York, where I won the overall there, and I believe I also got 4th in the open light heavyweight division there too as well.
Okay, so you started real early. No wonder you're that good at 26. I mean, you already going to the Olympia, and at 26 is when I started bodybuilding. So that's when I started training. So that's the difference between you and me back in the days. I started lifting weights, and you're already going to the Olympia. And I said it, and I think I told you the first time I met you was at the Chicago Pro last year.
Yep.
And I told you back then that your future is unbelievably bright. I mean, it's just written all over you, and by you doing what you did from Chicago to the New York Pro, it's basically showing the world that you are doing everything right, number one, and then probably everything possible, to be at your best, and the change that you made from the Chicago Pro to the New York Pro, and I'm not talking about the body weight, you were big at the Chicago Pro, but what I saw right off the bat is the way you presented yourself, the way you hit the shots, the way you milked each and every pose. It was just like a statue. It kind of reminded me, I'm telling myself in my head that he took a book out of Rami's, hitting the shots, hold the poses, and don't suffer, don't shake, and no problems going. You probably could have posed as long as they wanted you to.
Oh, that was one of the things that me and Matt wanted to do, was make the presentation as best as possible. Yeah. We practiced posing probably 45 minutes after every training session, just about.
Yeah. And it showed. And I tell people all the time, guys, you train, you diet, you bust your ass in the gym, but what it's all about at the end is how do you present your physique. You can look awesome, and you just don't know how to present it, and you end up coming up short. So you focus a lot on your poses, and it also looked like your midsection looked way better. Your stomach was so much under control. Was that something that you did, or was that just the posing itself?
Oh, I focused on a lot of vacuum training for this, really holding the stomach tight. But we also, as you can probably tell, from Chicago to New York, we kept the stomach the way we posed. We crunched it instead of spreading it out more. Instead of opening up. That just gave more of an illusion of a tighter waist as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was, for me, it was obvious, there was no competition in that day. So, but what was your mindset like leaving Chicago, where you placed fourth, which is respectfully as a newcomer, as a rookie, first pro debut? What did you think you had to improve?
Well, I actually messaged Tyler Mannion, for some feedback, and basically he just said, your waist is fine, keep it the way it is. He said, but we would like to see more roundness to your quads, more chest development, and more back development as well, and just basically overall refinement to the body. So that's just what we focused on.
See, if I look back at the North Americans when you won your pro card, it all looked more like it was going the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the control, the midsection control, it was a little out of control. And it's so glad. I'm so glad that you show the world that this is not something that comes from who knows what gear and overuse of GH. You basically just proved the point that I've been trying to tell people for such a long time. This has something to do with controlling your midsection. And not only while you're on stage, you learn that while you train, while you drive the car, you're sitting at home, the way you sit, you never really...
That's another thing. Like, even when training, like I made sure my stomach was held tight.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting at a table, I made sure I kept my stomach in tight. It's the little things that people don't pay attention to that make such a huge difference.
Huge. And I wish I would have done that back in my days, because I've learned to do that right after I retired, because that's when I realized that this is something you can practice even not being in the gym. So now, you go into the Olympia, my man. You're 26 years old. You basically, when you listen to the fans and even the experts and the critics and the people that's been around this business, you have all the chances in the world to do very well, even at this year's Olympia. Now, where's your mindset? Where do you see yourself going into your first? You know how some people say, it's my first Olympia, I'm just going to get my feet wet. What's your mindset like going into the Olympia?
The way my mind works, I'm gunning for a top 3 to 5 spot.
So what do you think you have to do? What do you have to change something, or what do you think you have to improve?
No, I just think we just have to keep doing exactly what we did from Chicago to New York, and just replicate that as best as possible going into Olympia.
So what about your training? Your training will stay the same? Are you changing anything?
Yeah, I never changed my training. I train pretty much low volume. 1 to 2 sets per exercise. I may add like a drop set or a rest pause set, but other than that, it's pretty much low volume.
So who do you compare yourself to when you look at your physique, and or who did you look up to, or is there anybody that you would compare yourself to, body wise, physique wise?
Oh yeah, the first bodybuilder that I was inspired by that I wanted to look like was Jay Cutler.
Mm-hmm. So
and believe it or not, you were the second one.
Oh really?
Yeah, because you were
awesome.
You were, excuse my language, but you were fucking huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that one. That's what I want to look like.
I kind of see in you, I kind of see myself a little bit, especially the way you think. You know, people don't understand. When they see videos, you don't sometimes understand what's really going on. But listening to what you say tells me that you have the same mindset. You are probably, and I see why you train and the way you post pictures and the way you are, that you have a plan. You know, and it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what people say. You will stick to your plan, and you're going to ride that thing until the wheels fall off. And I was kind of like the same way, like a robot. All my meals were at the same time. My training was at the same time. It was So you basically the same way.
Of course, even now, like, you know, we're 20 weeks out from Olympia. And, you know, people are like, just relax, you know, cool. This is my first Olympia. It's back to work. But there's no time to waste here.
Yeah, and then even size-wise, I think you compare very well. I mean, we'll give you a couple of more years. How many people at 5'7" can be this heavy on stage? You know, that's not...
Yeah, I was 250 on stage at New York.
That's not normal. You know what I mean? So you're probably one of those guys that can be really, really big, even at a not so, you know, I mean, at 5'7". I mean, I was 5'8". What was your off-season weight? What was your highest off-season weight?
So this off-season, I got about 288, 290.
But you are never off. You're never really out of shape.
No, I still had abs. This was actually probably my leanest off-season. Like, I wasn't really watery. Like, I was really happy, to be honest, which just made for an easier prep for me.
How many times a day you train? You train once or?
Yeah, I do every morning. Even in the off season, I would do cardio every morning. In the off season, I did it for like 20, 25 minutes. And then, you know, I'd train around 2, 3, and that'd be it every day.
Yeah. What is your calorie intake now, getting ready for the Olympia now at 20 weeks out? Where are you at this moment?
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
Calorie? Oh, I don't know, but we definitely bumped the food though.
Yeah. So you don't calculate calories. You just go eat. You just eat.
Well, he just sends me my diet. Man just sends me what I'm supposed to eat. And
So you just follow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another thing I was doing. I'll just follow instructions.
I just follow what he says.
So how many meals you eat a day?
6.
6 meals. You know. So you get up early.
I get up about 7. I do my cardio. Well, I relax for a little bit first, just kind of wake up and relax. I take my dogs outside for a little walk, and then I'll do my cardio, and then I'll take a shower, get my clothes for the day, and have my first meal.
Yeah. So, but being a perfectionist, being someone who wants to do everything right, and you know, and I think because you're so young and you're already in that mode, that's going to help you tremendously. What is it that you personally want to get better at? You know, what are you working on to get even better for the Olympia? Looking at
Personally,
if you look at the top 6.
I still want to improve on my upper chest. I still think it lacks a little bit. I still want to volumize my quads a little more. And I really just want to come in with an undeniable back. Because, I mean, without being arrogant, I don't think really many people touch me in the hamstring glute development right now. So that's always, I'm just going to keep making that a strong point. But my back, I know it needs to be thicker, a little wider, and add more detail as best as I can. So that's, you know, a main priority for me.
Yeah, I can see a great package coming from there. You know, your back is already unbelievable. I mean, you know, it showed at the New York Pro. I mean, I always say you're as good as your competition, but you stood out. You literally stood out. It wasn't even close. And this is not a knock on Justin Rodriguez. I mean, I think Justin wasn't as good as he was the week before. I think he was a little less conditioned. But even still, if he would have came in the way he did the week before, I think still you would have knocked this out of the park because you were just superior, and it showed. And the mentality, like I said, the way you stood there and the way you handled yourself, you just looked like, hey, I'm here to win. So all this drama before the New York Pro, all this drama with Blessing, that didn't bother you at all?
No, I thought it was funny because.
Did you believe it was real? Did you think it was real, or did you think it was just?
No, I mean I didn't think he was serious.
No, not serious in a fact where he wanted to insult you. But do you think that he was really thought that he could go there and just clean up and change the sport?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And to be honest, I don't think he changed the sport, but he hyped up that show really good, man. But I had with all the drama, it didn't faze me at all.
But you do like to interact. So you like to interact. So you like to
I did
reply.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
But just so people know, like I'm here, like I can read it all.
Did that change anything in your training mentality? Did it feel you, or it just didn't?
No, because I knew who I was up against. I knew I was going against Justin from the start. To be honest, that was my main priority because he beat me in Chicago.
Oh, right, so the year before, right.
That's who I was gunning for, and then Blessing comes out of nowhere, and I'm like.
So what did you guys talk about after the show? I mean, you guys somewhat squashed the beef and.
Oh yeah, Blessing. So it was funny. So after the competitors meeting, I saw him like in the lobby. And we were like talking shit to each other, screaming like little comments.
No, really? So,
but you could tell it was like harmless,
right.
So I actually went up to him and we talked, and he was cool, And we talked a little bit at prejudging, not really, because obviously we're both, we're getting ready. It's prejudging. But finals, whenever all the adrenaline kind of settles out a little bit, you kind of know where you're gonna place. We had good conversations. He was a really cool dude. He's actually really humble, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I talked to him. Yes.
He gave me a great compliment. I complimented him because I think Blessing has great structure, and I think with proper training and proper coaching, probably within the next 2 years, I'd say that he'll be a force.
Yeah. If he brings those legs up, he can be dangerous.
He just needs to bring the legs up. I think his back needs to come up too, as well. But once he does all that, and he's able to keep that structure, he'll be battling for Olympia one day. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I feel the same. And I was talking to him the other day, and I think he wants to make some changes when it comes to training, because he knows what he has to do.
We talk almost every day now.
Yeah. No, he's a really cool dude. But before I met him, and I was reading and hearing all this stuff he was saying, I was like, what is he thinking? I mean, come on, the guy never been on any pro stage, and then he is talking like he's going to change the game. I said, he better look like like someone who's never been here before. And then after the what was the show before? Indy Pro. I was like, that didn't go too well,
when I saw that show, I slept really good that day.
I was like, that really didn't go too well. So I'm thinking, I was like, now it's time to just shut up and do the work. But I guess, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it was him or maybe somebody told him to do it. You know what I mean? It's you never know. But he is a good guy. I talked to him and absolutely.
Yeah, overall behind the scenes, he's a real cool dude.
Yeah. So if you look at all the newer guys, the newer, let's say everybody from the top 6 on the newer guys at the Olympia, who do you see, as your competition in the future? Because I see it. This is what I see happening real soon. I see a new generation coming in, and I see the older generation moving out. Okay?
Yeah.
So then it's time for you guys, for you and the Hunter Labradas, Ian Valliers, all you guys who are very, very close in age to take over and reign this sport for years to come. So but who do you see as your biggest competition out of the newer guys that I just mentioned, like Ian, Hunter? Who else is there? And let me not forget.
I would probably say Ian.
Yeah? Ian is.
I would say Ian.
He's another guy that's putting into work right now.
Because he was 7th at the Olympia.
He was 7th,
right?
yes.
And I think me and him were similar in many ways. In many ways, we're not. And I know he's going to be battling the place higher as well as my first Olympia. I'm gunning for pretty much the top spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be a good battle to stand next to him. I even think me hoping he qualifies, standing next to Akeem will be good.
Mm-hmm. So since you're gunning for top 3 to top 5 spot, okay, let's just look at the top 6 from last year. Phil's out. I don't think Phil's coming back. So let's move.
Okay.
Let's move in Akeem. Okay, who out of the 6 or out of the 5 do you think you can beat this year? Realistically, listen, and I'm not looking at you as cocky. I'm looking at you as confident because I see how you think. So you say whatever you want to say, and it's not cocky.
I don't think I'm ready enough to beat Ramy. Ramy's at a whole different level. I think Heidi would beat me.
Heidi?
But basing off what I saw at the Olympia last year, because I was there, I think I could beat Brandon. Unless Brandon decides to build his legs up.
Well,
I think with my conditioning, I do think I if you're going off his Olympia versus my New York, I think I was more conditioned, more drier, harder, and overall had more mass than he did.
Yeah, I you know what? I can't even argue with you. To be honest, I can't argue with you. I can't even argue with you standing next to William Bonac and outsizing William. You know what I mean? Because you guys are almost the same height, probably the same height, 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah, even standing next to William, I think it's how tall is William?
I think he's about 5'6", 5'6" and a half.
Yeah, so I even think standing next to him would be good to see how I compare against him. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, unless somehow they come with some crazy improvements this year.
Do you really believe Brandon can improve his legs? I mean, he's been training for so many years, and his legs has been a weak point all his life. So is it possible now to change that around?
I think there's still room for improvements, but do I think he will improve tremendously? No.
Yeah, I think, and this is, I say this not only for Brandon, there's a lot of people who have problems with the legs for many years. It's like, they've been training for 20 years. Why all of a sudden do you think the legs will grow? You know, I mean, they can get bigger. I mean, you can come in fuller. You can go in. I believe he went for condition last year because of Phil. And I believe a lot of people are going to make a mistake and come in big trying to chase Ramy. That was me chasing Ronnie. Now I'm talking about Ramy. So, and I think that's going to be a mistake too, because then they're going to give up condition for more size, which is not always good. You know, and I think you will. Yeah. I think you will stand in there, looking really, really good. You know, at your height with your body weight, you're going to be one of the bigger guys.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this to a 26-year-old. You're going to be one of the biggest guys on the Olympia stage, because I don't think anybody, other than Ramy and Akeem, in the top 6 or 7 or even 8 were 250.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is crazy, man. I mean, how do you not go nuts knowing that you got a good shot? You know what I mean? Because
honestly, like I just try not to think about it.
And if you think about it, I'm gonna give you another scenario. If you think about this, I mean, we talk about William, and we talk about guys like Dexter. Last year when Ramy won the Olympia, they beat Ramy both at the Arnold.
Yeah.
So if Ramy is not on, he can get beat by quite a few people in this lineup.
For sure.
And yeah, you know what I mean? So you have a very good shot if you can beat Brandon. You know what I mean? Think about it. You could actually win the Olympia. No, if you think about this for a minute. Let Ramy be off. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, you know. So now, who's the front runners? It'll be Heidi, Brandon, William.
Yeah.
And, you know, could be Akeem, but Akeem is not the most consistent guy either. So it could be, you know, Ian moving in, Hunter moving in, and you. So you guys will be fighting. I think this Olympia will be a very, very good. Very, very interesting because there's some new blood in there that's really, new blood that means
Because I know I'm working hard. I know Ian's busting his ass.
Yeah.
I know Hunter's busting his ass. We're all gunning for a top spot here.
This is crazy. I didn't really think about that before because this is crazy. You guys can really, you can be as far as winning the show. There's got to be. Where's your motivation level? If you have to give me a 1 to 10, where's your motivation level?
12.
Yeah. You're like me. But I give you one advice. Sometimes, being intense is good, but sometimes if you're too intense, you can sometimes run into mistakes. Sometimes it's much better sometimes to be relaxed, and understand, because you got a game plan, and you guys have a formula that obviously works.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice would always be just don't change nothing. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's the goal. We have, even and that's another thing people don't understand. Exercise selection is absolutely important. You see people that will do exercises because other people do it, but it doesn't work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's why are you doing it?
What about this?
You got to find a certain group of exercises that work for you, execute it, and just keep getting better at it.
How long would you give yourself that you try something new? How long would you give yourself before you say it works or it doesn't work?
4 weeks.
That's all, a month? Yeah. What is it like working with that, what's that machine called?
The Newbie Fit thing?
Yes.
It was good. I liked it. I think it's beneficial in the off season when you're trying to grow maybe. But I also think it can flatten you out really, really quick, which can be not beneficial when you're in prep. But overall, the connection you get with your muscles with that machine it's really good.
Yeah. I'm old school, okay? I don't believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it doesn't work because I don't
It's
know.
actually beneficial, say, if you have an injury.
Yes, for injury.
Some type of shoulder injury, knee injury, and that will pretty much demolish the pain for you.
Right. And you're
able to train.
And I get that, and I understand that. It makes sense, because it transports blood into the muscle, and I understand that. But when it comes to training, because I talked to a couple of guys that used it, and they all basically said the same thing. They regret doing it because they went away from their normal training, and they think they did lose size, quality muscle, because they didn't use the regular weights that they usually use. Because with the machine, you can't use as much weight as
you can.
I understand.
Because it taxes you so fast.
Yeah.
It done.
So you don't think this is there a possibility that your body doesn't look the same?
Because I didn't use it that long, I don't think it affected me that much. But I will say I do think it downsized my legs a little bit.
Okay.
Just a touch.
Okay.
Wasn't enough to really tell, but I was able to tell a little bit. So pretty much now for the next 20 weeks, I probably won't use it.
You just confirmed what they're saying. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, you probably didn't rely on it. They relied on it.
I did for a minute because it was a really good workout. You felt great. It would make you sweat like crazy, and then you don't really acknowledge it until I actually noticed it when me and Matt did our last project progress pictures before we left to go to Tampa. And I just felt like my legs, they weren't flat, but they just looked like they lost the roundness that I was having.
I was about to say it looked like the sweep was not as dominant as it was before. True. I said, because I see you training with that stuff. So I was like, I hope he doesn't run into the same risk. But I said, maybe it's because he's going for condition and he's losing, he's a little bit less full. But I saw that in the sweep. Because you got good legs. You got good quads. No doubt. But with a little bit of sweep, it makes you stand out even more. It makes the waist look even smaller. So there's little things. Yeah, you wanna be You want to be on top of your game for the Olympia, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Joe Weider's Olympia here in Orlando, Florida. A little bit strange coming out of Las Vegas for all of those years.
Good evening, and welcome to the event that nearly never happened.
There's been an absence of a particular group of people on this stage that are back tonight. Tonight I'm here to say, welcome back to Miss Olympia.
You want to talk? Do you want to ask me a question?
Actually, I do have one question. It's not about training, though.
Whatever.
You always said you regret chasing Ronnie for size.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do differently?
What would I do differently now?
Yeah. When you said I need to get huge, what did you do different compared to previous years?
Oh, to get bigger?
Yeah.
I upped my meals. I was eating so much, and the good thing is I was hungry. I was hungry all the time. I mean, I could eat. I had times where I ate literally 10 meals a day because I was so hungry. I was eating every hour, an hour and a half max, just because I could. So
that's how I feel right
now. Yeah, and the thing was I got big. I was 308 pounds in off season with abs. But
I was going to say, you never got fat.
Nah, I never got fat. So that's why I see, when I hear you talk, I know exactly what you're saying because I've been there. I did the exact same things. But I regret doing it because at our height, and I'm only 5'8", so I'm just a little bit taller than you. Mm-hmm. The bigger we get, it's going to have to go somewhere,
It's going to go to the gut.
Yeah, and people say, oh, he's using so much insulin. And if people would know what I was doing, they wouldn't believe it. You know what I mean?
See, even if insulin or not, the amount of food you're consuming every day, all day,
yes,
whether insulin's in the play or not, it's going to go to the gut regardless.
Yeah, and I couldn't help it because I remember, in the beginning, in my first couple of years, I had a real small waist, I had flaring quads. It was, if I could turn back the time, I would stick to my guns and just stay and just go for quality, because 240, 235, 240, 242, I was at my best. As soon as my students, I start going into 260s on stage.
That's funny. Yeah.
You feel massive. You feel like I was so full I couldn't even pump up. When you're so fully loaded that you can't even pump up because you feel like you pumped. You feel like you pumped waking up.
Oh, right. Yeah. So was your protein really high as well as your carb intake?
Yes, I had my protein real high. My protein had to be. I had each meal. I had anywhere from 10 to 12 ounces of meat.
Really?
Yes, it was high.
Well, didn't you say you were doing like 100 grams of carbs per meal?
100 grams of carbs?
Yeah.
Back then?
Yeah.
I was doing even more. Yeah.
Per meal?
But I was 400 grams of cooked rice. Yes, easy. Easy. And I was still hungry.
And you didn't know fats though, right?
No, I used the fats in the meat. I didn't add any extra fats. I never added any extra fats. I was eating 400 grams of cooked rice. So that's exactly 100 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of times I had to literally get another cup just because I was still hungry. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I was able to eat and doing shakes. And I was doing shakes.
That's
crazy. I was overdoing it. It would have been necessary. It wasn't. I got big. I got some great pictures from being super swole, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, for what I was doing, all this was to present yourself on stage. It did hurt me. It did hurt me tremendously. Yeah. So I basically shot myself in the foot. I don't regret doing what I'm doing because I did it. I had a good time. And I made a name for myself, even not, winning the Olympia. I made a name for because I tell you one thing, I was the first one who started posting progress pictures. I scared the shit out of everybody.
I know. I remember you saying that in one interview that you were the first person.
I was in Thailand Dial up. It took 45 minutes for one picture to upload. But I sent some pictures over because I had to create some kind of hype because I'm living in Thailand. Nobody knew who I was. Basically, they knew I won the USAs, but, as a pro, you start from the beginning, you know? So I had to somehow create a hype, and I did the pictures. And then, what the pictures you get at the gym, after, especially after you're full. I'll scare the shit out of myself sometimes. And then... and then I put these pictures up, and then I can hear what's going around without Facebook, Instagram. I can hear what's going on. Oh, this dude from Thailand is coming. They were so fucked up that they didn't even know I was American. They put my name on the Olympia stage, Dennis James Thailand underneath, like I'm Thai. And of course, then when you get on stage, you don't look like you look in the gym after you get a full body workout.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I say, it's okay. But if I could change it, I would. If I could take it back, I would change it, and I will do it all over again,
For sure. So what was your training like? Were you a low volume or high volume guy?
I had phases, I had a phase where it was very low, 4 to 6 reps, and then I did a phase of 8 to 12, and I changed it every time, I did 1 month low, 1 month medium. I never do really high reps, never did that. I did like drop sets at the end, contest.
So even on legs, you kept it pretty low?
Yeah, 8 to 12, and then at the end.
I find what did work best for me was like on a leg press, I would do like 15, 20 reps.
Some people have to do it, for some people, and when you look at Rami, higher reps at the end works better for him.
I felt like that really volume like gave me my outer sleep.
Yeah. Sometimes, listen, if I would know back then what I know today, I would have been a totally different bodybuilder. Totally different. I would have done a lot of things different because back then I was in Thailand. There was no one. I was 100 pounds bigger than the next biggest guy. So there was no one for me to ask or no one for me to look up to. I was basically my motivation was I had no supplements. There was no nutritional supplements in Thailand. I tried to import protein powders, and they fucking denied me. You could buy steroids in every damn pharmacy, but protein powder they consider dangerous. It's the truth. They consider protein powder dangerous, so I had no protein powders. I did everything with food until I started traveling to the U.S., and then every time I came back with bags full of protein powder, so I can get my shakes in. But basically, what was I saying just now? I don't think now I forgot what I wanted to say. That's what happens when you're 55 years old. Damn.
You would train differently.
Yeah, I would train totally different today, and I would use less protein. I would just focus more on quality because at the end of the day, quality is everything. When you stand on stage and you, because I learned real fast that if you're 260 and someone is 240 and it's harder than you, he looks bigger than you at 260. Even if you're both the same height, because, so sometimes to lose a couple of extra pounds, creates more of an illusion and makes you look even bigger, So
you trained with Charles Glass too, right?
I trained with Charles when I came back to the U.S. before the show. So over there, I trained by myself. This is what I wanted to say. Now I remember. And I had nobody to look up to. So for me to get motivated, there was no pre-workout. I had to use an old VHS tape. Back then, there was no DVDs. And I had to put a tape in it. So I look at, I had Ronnie's VHS. I had Dorian's Gut and Bloods. I had Jay's, Marcus Rules, everybody's videos. And let's say if I go in for, I know I have to train back, I put Ronnie's video in. And I watch the video before I go to the gym and not go and just fucking rip the damn machine out of the floor. This is what I was doing. That was my motivation going into the gym. And like I said, for me, it was just, Ronnie was winning the Olympia every year, and it was size. We can't say Ronnie was the most aesthetic bodybuilder. So I was like, fuck aesthetics, let's go for size. I literally tried to get as big as possible just to stand next to him and not look small, which was almost impossible because Ronnie in 2003 was something that we probably never see again.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How big do you think you want to get? What is your fantasy weight on the Olympia stage? Maybe not this year, maybe in a couple of years.
Well, even this year, I would like to be anywhere another 3 to 5 pounds heavier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think 253, 255 would be good.
That's huge for 5'7". That's huge. Like I said, you're one of the biggest guys. I'll guarantee you that. There's not a lot of people.
And it's like I said, it's because like I was heavier than I was at Chicago, and my waist looked better.
Yeah.
So if I can continue to put some size on and just keep my waist tight, I'll keep going until I feel like, okay, now it's.
You know what the difference?
You
know what the difference is with you? You're still young. You on your way. You coming into your prime. You're not even there yet.
I know.
So you're not even close to your prime. I guarantee you, your prime will be somewhere starting at 30 to 35.
Yeah.
That will be your prime. That's the scary part about all this. You're 26 years old and you're already good enough to beat guys that's been doing this for 20 years. You know, that's scary. That's why. Please don't hurt yourself.
Oh, I know. I don't.
The only thing that can mess this up is you making mistakes or just hurting yourself with any career-ending injuries, you know, quad tear.
Sure.
So as long as you stay healthy, you're going to be the future of bodybuilding. I'm 100% convinced. You, Hunter, Ian, you guys are going to be battling for years to come. And then there's going to be a new crop of guys coming after you, waiting for you old guys to retire so they can rule bodybuilding after that, you know? So it's been like 100%. This for years. It was like, I remember when I came in, me and Dexter, we turned pro the same year, and we're looking up at, you know, Flex, Ronnie, all these older guys. I was like, these guys need to go. Only problem was I was just as old as they are because I came in so late. I started late.
Yeah.
I didn't turn pro until I was 32. So
you started at my age, right?
I started at 26 and I turned pro at 32 and competed until I was 44. Matter of fact, let me take this back. I came back for the damn Masters Olympia at 46. Yeah.
You did do that. I remember that.
Yeah. And I should have stayed my ass home. I'll tell you that much. That's a sign. And I looked, you know, that's why people say, wow, you can still do it. I was like, guys, you have no idea. I compared, I was 245 at the Masters, and I compared myself to 245 in 2003. And I put these pictures together. It looked like a sorry-ass body next to a fresh, you know, full and round. It looked like I was 20 pounds heavier in 2003 when you just look at the pictures. Yeah, because when your body wants to go, your body wants to go. There's not much.
Well, I even watched the interview that you just posted with Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's right. When you get to a certain age and you take a couple years off, it's hard. You can't come back the way, you know, you were.
There's no coming back. So what do you think about Sean Roden? Can he come back?
Do I think he'll come back?
Can he come back? I don't know. We don't know if he's competing or not. But if he could, if he could he come back? Could he come back and be fighting for the title at 40? What 6, 7?
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah.
3 years out.
I think he could, but I don't think he would look the same.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's too.
You know,
I don't think he believes he could. Well, he probably believes he could look the same because. You don't want to believe. You still believe you got what it takes, and sometimes.
But when you get to that age and you take, 3 years off, it's hard to come back. You know.
How long do you think you would be competing? If you look at the future, do you have a future plan already?
Oh yeah, I have a big. What's your honestly, future? I don't have a set year for me, set age. I'm just gonna ride this until my wheels fall off. When do you see yourself winning? On everything outside of bodybuilding to build something for myself. So
right. Smart.
When I'm done, I'm already set.
Yeah, smart. Do that right now. Smart, because you got to do it while you're hot.
Yep.
Okay. When do you see yourself winning the Olympia?
When?
Yes.
Next year.
2022.
Yep.
There you go. What a way to make an announcement.
The goal, like I said, my goal was to be top 3, top 5. And when that does happen, my goal was to win it next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you got what it takes. So
I personally believe, without being any arrogant, I just set the standard for the Olympia this year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I just motivated everyone to put their ass in gear and to get ready for their shows. I believe I was the motivation for a lot of people. I mean, everyone's always motivated, but I believe they saw how I looked and they know I'm not playing games.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to work just as hard as I am.
Well, everybody should work as hard as you because, I mean, that's their job. I mean, if you're a professional bodybuilder, you should put your work in. I mean, if you want to win the Olympia, and this is something that Rami learned last year. You know, he didn't know until last year what it really takes to win the show.
Oh, you got to dig deep, man.
Yes, and
you got to dig deep.
He realized, and you know, and I'm really happy that it worked, because if that would have worked last year, he would have probably said, you know what, I don't think I'm ready for this. You know, because
he looked phenomenal. Yeah. Well-deserved win for him.
He still has much room to improve, to get better.
For sure.
But just what he went through in order to get to that point, you know.
He wasn't ready for it.
No, he wasn't ready for it, you know. So he realized, wow, you know, because at the end of the day, you got to go balls to the wall and bounce off.
You got to
go
to levels
right back.
You've never been to before, man.
Yeah.
You got to go to dark places.
Mm-hmm.
It's
good to hear you already have that mindset at 26, because a lot of people at your age, that's when they're coming in and they start learning, you know, start getting more serious. You're already so far ahead of everybody else at your age. That's it's good to see that the IFBB Pro League does not have to worry about new talent coming into the shows. And that's why guys like you, like I said, I'm going to say it again, you, Hunter, Ian, Blessing, you know, you guys are going to be the ones representing our sport for the next 15 years. And I will be a fan just like I am today. For the last 25 years, I will stay a fan of you guys too. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to you coming to the Olympia, injury-free, ready for war. Mm-hmm. And then we'll let the judges decide where Nick Walker will place at his very first Olympia. But I have a feeling that you are at least top 5. I don't see why you shouldn't be in the top 5. If you can look like you did in New York, or maybe even better.
Well, the goal is always to be better.
Perfect. I appreciate you making the time, my man.
Thank you for having me,
I wish you all the best, all the success, and tell your coach I said what's up, because he's doing a great job, not only with you, but also with the other guys. And I really, it's like to see, you know, people that are firsthand. Not only this, you know, there's coaches and coaches. Because I remember he coaches Sean Clarita too, right?
Yep.
Because I remember, because last year at the Olympia, you see nobody in the gyms. You see 2 guys in the gym all the way to the Olympia, all the way till Thursday. Till Thursday. There was Rami and there was Sean. Yeah. So that shows me that listen, when you're ready, don't change anything until you walk on stage. Because if you stop,
I agree.
You stop training.
That's what we did. We trained all the way up till Thursday.
Yeah, because you stop training and then you're sitting in the room and you get the mind just going. Am I going to be able to make it? Are we going to peak? Keep doing what you've been doing. You know?
Exactly. I
agree.
You could,
I'll almost say, you know, why not just train a little bit on Friday morning? You know what I'm saying? Brother, I appreciate it, champ. Go back to, I know you got a lot of things to do. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And hopefully we'll get another chance to get you back on the podcast after the Olympia, because that will be a good one.
Absolutely,
all right,
man.
Champ.
Thank you for having me, Dennis.
No problem. You're welcome, man. All the best. And like I said, tell your mom and dad I say what's up, too, because they're awesome.
I will.
Take care, champ.